Okay. We're almost all here, but we're going to get started. I'll just have to keep my eye on the waiting room just for the first 5 minutes. But we will get started today standing up. And you can come to the top of your mat, so standing with your feet hip distance apart. Great. So once you're at the top of your mat, just give your shoulders a few rolls back in space. So rolling them forward, up towards your ears and back. You can even get your arms into it if that feels nice. So just exploring how your shoulders can move, perhaps feeling into your shoulder blades, squeezing together and then broadening. And then go around in the opposite direction a few times. Play with tempo, going slow or quicker. And then roll your shoulders back one more time. So just to set up the arms with the palms flipped forward. If you like, you can close down your eyes or just keep your gaze down the bridge of your nose if you prefer. And just take a moment here to settle into stillness. So this first class of the month, I thought we would begin with some foundations. So we're going to take it a little bit slower and just really play with our alignment. So as we're standing in anatomical neutral, just send your attention to your feet and start to play with shifting your weight forward and back so that you feel your weight come into your heels and then shift forward into your toes. You might even like to push it so you can feel where you almost become destabilized and just notice how your body responds, what happens. And then we're going to find the spot that's right in the center. So you can just slowly decrease the range of motion until you come to stillness. So notice how your weight is evenly distributed through your feet. Notice the arches of your feet lifted away from the earth. And notice all 10 toes pressing down into the mat. And then just start to trace your attention up into your legs. Your legs are straight, but your quads are soft. So just try not to have any tension. Feel the sense of your feet pushing down into the earth as the legs begin to straighten and lengthen away. And then send your attention to your hips and your belly. The belly's soft for the moment. And from there, start to notice your spine beginning to elongate away from the earth. So we're really playing with this idea of length. Energy reaching out through the crown of the head. And the chest is open as the palms stay flipped forward. And now just send your attention to your breath. So as we're breathing, think about sending your breath down through the back of your lungs. So into the back space of your body. And notice as you inhale, your ribs expanding out to the sides. You can breathe out through the mouth Deep breath in through the nose. And breathe out through the mouth. Full breath in through the nose. And then see if you can maintain some of this depth we just created, just breathing naturally, but thinking about breathing into that back space of your body. We're going to take a spinal roll down towards the ground. You can open your eyes if they're closed. So here, start to find your awareness back at the top of your head and allow the top of your head to start to tilt your chin forward so that you're going to roll down nice and slow, leading from the crown of your head. Allow your arms to soften and allow your knees to soften. You can bend them as much as you like as you roll down. Once you're at the bottom here, if you like, you can take a couple of yeses and nos. Sometimes that feels nice for our first spinal roll, just to relieve any tension that's in the neck and the upper traps. And then keeping the knees soft, you're going to restack your spine, one vertebra at a time. So rolling back up the spine. As you come up, your head will be the last thing to come up, and just allow your palms to flip back forward so you feel that expansion through the front of your chest. We're going to go again, perhaps a little bit quicker, but imagine you have a barrel in front of you, and you're going to try and lift your sternum up and over the barrel as you roll down. So leading from the top of your head, you start to roll down, allow your arms to soften, thinking about drawing in through your abdominals. So now we're finding a bit of engagement as we roll down. Knees can be soft once again. And then roll back up, thinking about drawing your navel back towards your spine so that we create a bit more length through our spine as we roll up. Imagine there's a wall behind you. So if you were rolling down up and over the barrel, your bottom can't actually stick out too far, otherwise you're going to crash into your wall behind you. So think about weight into the front of your toes. And then come all the way back up. So even though there's a bit of weight in the front of our toes, we're still connecting our heels to the mat. We'll do that one more time. Rolling down the spine, thinking about that gentle connection to core, and then coming all the way down. Keep the knees soft, bring your fingertips to your shins, and then straighten your arms as you push your fingertips into your shins. This is going to lift your chest, and you can think about drawing your shoulder blades just gently together. Pull your breastbone forward, and then we'll soften it all the way back down towards the ground. We're going to do that 2 more times, connecting our breath. Inhale, lengthen your spine, draw your shoulder blades together. Exhale, melt it all the way back down. One more time. Inhale, wave the spine, lengthen it, draw your breastbone forward, and then exhale, take it all the way back down. Hands are going to come down to the ground, and you're going to step your left leg back into your lunge. Keep your fingertips pressing down, and then bend your left knee, untuck your toe. Press firmly through both feet. Tuck your chin and roll up through the spine, kind of like your spinal roll, to come up, reaching the hands skyward. Pausing here for a moment. So often here in our lunges, it can feel nice to shift forward, but when we do this, we are cramming a little bit into our back. So we're finding heaps of length in our spine today. Tuck your tailbone under and keep that pressure through that back foot. So here now we can really lengthen off through the front of our hip into our hip flexors and quads. Draw the front of your rib cage in, reach your hands high, and we're going to take an exhale to twist to our right. So you're coming into a closed twist. Spiraling the waist, the ribs, the shoulders, and then maybe the head even if it feels nice for you. Looking back past your right hand. Inhale, both hands come skyward. Exhale, take your hands to frame the right foot. Tuck your back toe under, lengthen out your leg. Push firmly into both hands and step right leg back to plank. Pausing here. In your planks, you can drop down to your knees straight away. In fact, let's all drop down to our knees. let's just explore our half plank. Push your hands firmly into the ground and feel as though you're trying to pull your breastbone or sternum forward towards the top of your mat. In turn, this will start to connect into those muscles that are right underneath your shoulders, near your armpits, so your lateral muscles and your serratus anterior. Can you feel that squeeze of your armpits inwards? Draw your abdominals in, and then we're going to take our chaturanga to come down to the ground. Start to bend your elbows. Feel your elbows pull back behind you. Lead from your chest so that you come down in a straight line. Inhale, press the back of your head up into your baby cobra. Pause here. Exhale, come down. This time, can you really try to press your pubic bone down into your mat? Draw your belly button off the mat, and then press the back of your head up. So it might feel a little bit more restricted in range of motion, but we're creating a lot more length in our spine. Come on all the way down. Next one here, our pubic bone stays connected. We lift the back of the head up, we pause, and perhaps hover our hands off the ground. Slowly melt it down. Keep your elbows drawing in towards your midline. Draw your belly button in, and then press on up through your half plank. Tuck your toes, shift your hips back, and lift up to your downward facing dog. So here you might like to take a little pedal, just to become a little bit more accustomed gently into this big shape. So stretching out through your Achilles, your calf, and your hamstrings one at a time. And then allowing both your feet to settle down. So there are a couple of ways you can do a downward dog. If you feel like your hamstrings are tight today, please feel free to bend your knees a lot. Your heels might not be on the ground. You can then melt your chest closer towards your thighs, so you're working more at establishing a straight spine in relation to your shoulder girdle, rather than getting perfectly straight legs. So feel free to keep your knees nice and soft, and then from there, see if you can tilt your sits bones upwards towards the ceiling. Find your breath and think about breathing into the back space of your body. When you're ready, look forward. On your next exhale, you're stepping your left foot in between your hands. Left foot in between your hands, come up to your fingertips, drop your right knee to the ground. Untuck your toe, tuck your chin, press feet into the ground, and roll through the spine to come back up to your low lunge. Pausing here. So find that length again through your lower back. Allow your tailbone to tuck, and in turn feel that gentle sense of navel drawing back to spine. Deep stretch through the front of your hip flexors, psoas, and even into your quads. We keep that sense of grounding down through both feet. Inhale, lengthen spine to ceiling. Exhale, twist to your left. Once again, feel that sense of waist twisting, ribs twisting, shoulders twisting, and then even your head if that feels okay for your neck. Inhale, both hands reach to the sky. Exhale, hands frame left foot, tuck your back toe under, stretch that leg. We're going to step forward, bend into your right knee to shift your weight back a little, and then you're going to use that to propel yourself forward, stepping your feet just hip distance apart. Let your head relax. And again, here we'll take some halfway lifts. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Draw your breastbone forward. Think of this as thoracic extension. So your upper back is moving into extension. Exhale, melt it down. Do that 2 more times in your own time. Inhale, wave, lengthen to the spine. Exhale, melt it down. Last time. Inhale, wave, length. Exhale, melt it down. Soften your knees, roll through the spine. Think about abdominals drawing in. This time here, reach your hands out wide or in front to the ceiling. And here we're going to come all the way back down with our hands curving over top. Drawing the abs in, bend your knees, come all the way down. 1 halfway lift. Inhale to lengthen spine. Exhale to melt it down. Hands to the ground. Right leg steps back. Hold. Drop your right knee to the ground, untuck your toe. Inhale, lengthen, reach to the ceiling. This time here, you're going to take left hand back behind you to catch a hold of the back of your thigh. Right hand will lift up and you're taking a little back bend. Right hand comes to the ground straight away, left hand follows. Tuck your back toe, stretch right leg, step it back into your plank. Hold in your full plank if you like, otherwise you know your option to drop knees to the ground if you prefer. This time here, I really want you to think about what your hands are doing. Can you please spiral your fingers towards your pinkies? It is an action, not a movement. So feel as though you're trying to spin your fingers towards your pinkies. Notice how that changes what's happening high up in your shoulders. Great, hold it there. Abs are in. Beautiful planks, everyone. Looking great. Backs of heads pressing up towards the ceiling. We're going to come all the way down to the ground. Lead from your chest. So keep your hips high. And all the way back down to our bellies. Coming up a little bit higher into our cobra. Press through your hands. Keep your pubic bone pushing down into the ground. And then lift up, thinking about drawing your breastbone forward. So we're staying engaged here as we come into this back bend. Come all the way down. So it's not necessarily passive, which you can do, but today we're thinking about a little bit more engagement through our abdominals. Inhale, lift on up. Exhale, melt it down. Breastbone pulls you forward and up. And exhale, melt it down. Hands still underneath shoulders, elbows draw in. If you like, you can tuck your toes and straighten your legs and perhaps push up. No, I can't do it today. Push up into plank. So your choice to make it harder or keep your knees on the ground. Tuck your toes, lift on up, come into your downward dog. Right leg steps back forward, in between hands. Drop your left knee down towards the ground, untuck your toe. Tuck your chin, rise on up, reach to the ceiling. Both feet anchored, tailbone lengthens towards the earth as your crown of the head reaches to the ceiling. Right hand finds back of thigh, left hand lifts up and back. So it's a little bit of a twisted back bend. Arms windmill down towards the ground, frame the right foot, tuck your back toe under, stretch that left leg. Once again, soften into the left knee, shift your weight a little back in space to push and propel yourself forward. Coming back to feet hip distance apart, relax your head. Inhale to take one halfway lift. Exhale to melt it down. Soften knees, roll up through the spine. Hands can reach out to the sides or forward. Inhale, lift. And then this time here, we're going to bring our arms just out in front. So one hand crossed on top of the other. You can cross your right leg over left leg. If you need to put your hands on the ground, that's totally fine. But we'll see if we can come all the way down to the ground, sitting down. Beautiful. Yes. So lengthen your legs out in front. In fact, actually, we can keep our knees bent just for this first one. Hands reach out in front. Ground down through your feet. Sit up as tall as you can. As you're doing this, allow the front of your hips to soften. So see if you can just actively visualize the front of your hips to soften, and maybe you can get up a little bit higher. Now draw your abdominals in, and you'll start to roll down your spine. Think about your lower back connecting first. So really try and get it one vertebra at a time. Reach your hands back and overhead. Knees can stay bent here. Hands reach up towards the ceiling. Tuck your chin. Draw your abs down. Start to peel back one up. One vertebra at a time. Sit up nice and tall once again. And we'll go all the way back down. So it's pretty tricky. If you need, you can grab a hold of the back of your thighs, yeah? As you slowly start to develop strength. Reach your hands back. Reach your hands back up towards the ceiling. Draw your abdominals in. Lift on all the way back on up, as high as you can through those sit bones. Great. As you come down this time, all the way onto your backs, you'll step your feet in a little bit closer towards your hips. Your feet are still at hip distance apart. Press your hands down into the ground and push your shoulders down into the ground. Just go ahead and arch your back a lot. So you feel like you're really sending your tailbone down into the mat. And then flatten your back into the mat. So you're tucking your pelvis and bringing your pubic bone closer to your belly button. Let's go again. So you're arching your back a lot. And then flattening your back into the mat. If you like, you can actually place the heels of your hands onto your hip bones and point your fingertips down to your pubic bone. So you're making a little triangle at the front of your pelvis. And just notice how these bony protrusions change in relation to one another. So pubic bone goes nice and high as you tuck, and then pubic bone drops really low as you arch. So we're going to try and find our neutral pelvis or neutral spine. And that's when the pubic bone and hip bones here at the front are on the same level, on the same plane. So just go ahead and find that position, the position in between those two shapes. So this is your neutral, and we're going to work a lot through neutral today. So if you like, you could keep your hands here, but if possible, take your hands back down by your sides and anchor your shoulders back into your mat. Maintaining this neutral pelvis, allow the front of your ribs to soften. On your next exhale, pick your right knee up into a tabletop position, and then just place it back down to the ground. And exhale, left knee to tabletop. Inhale, place it down. So we're really starting with basics, and we're going to add on. It's really good to come back to our foundations because we can start to work on our technique and build that into our muscle memory. Because I'm not there with you, I'm going to give you a cue that you can give, or tactile feedback that you can do to yourself if you like. So you're going to take your 2-piece fingers and just press down maybe an inch or so below your belly button. So feel that space, and you can push down quite firmly. Allow your belly to be nice and soft as you're doing this. So you should feel your fingers really sink down deep. We're going to add on more load so you can feel what your muscles do in that area. So picking one knee up to tabletop, and then pick up the other knee as well. What happens underneath your fingertips? Just notice. Great. Place one foot down, place the other foot down. You can alternate the starting leg if you like, so maybe the opposite leg picks up first, and then lift up, down, and down. So we're still connecting our breath. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So one move, one breath. Great. So you may be noticing your abdominals engaging, and they might be feeling like they're kicking upwards. If possible, we want to try and find the sense of your abdominals compressing down rather than flicking up. So when we feel this sense of upward engagement, this is actually your superficial muscles doing the majority of the work. And this is a deep core exercise. It takes time to find this properly. So you're training your body, your mind to connect to one another, and you're trying to bias your deep belly abdominal muscles. The breath is key to finding this. The other thing that you might find that happens is that your hip flexors do a lot of the work. So come back to visualizing soft front of hips and see if you can really connect to your deep core. If it's useful for you to keep your hands there, you can, otherwise both hands back to the mat, and we're going to add on further if it feels appropriate for you. So you might want to stay with these until you can get that deep core engagement. So both knees to tabletop if you're adding on. Anchor your sacrum down, everyone. So you're still in your neutral. Beautiful, soft front of ribs. Let's go toe taps. Right toe to the ground, pick it back up. Left toe to the ground, exhale, inhale, pick it back up. So this is adding on load. We're making it a lot harder. And you're trying to move your toe away from you a little more. That's it. So avoiding dropping heel to bottom. Even Chloe, you could go a little further away from you. That's it. Nice work, beautiful. Knees pull right in, right into tabletop. That's it, great. Still connecting your breath, and if you want, you're going to add on even further. Both legs to the ceiling, stretch your legs. They might not go to full straight here, and that's fine. But as you lower your right leg, you're going to lengthen it right on out. Heel all the way down towards the ground, just hovering. Pick it back on up on your inhale. We go exhale, lengthen away. Inhale, lower, lift it back up. Great. Now you don't have to go that low if it feels like you're losing your neutral pelvis. So you could decrease the range of motion also to make it easier, but I'd really like you to explore, if you can, lengthening that leg right away so you're finding length through the front of your hip flexor whilst engaging your core. Anchor your hips down, sacrum heavy, front of ribs soft, and we're just going to do a couple more. If you want grand finale, you're going to lower both legs down just for 3. Exhale down, inhale, lift back up. You don't have to go super low. Exhale down, inhale, lift back up. One more. And we lift it back up. Draw your knees into your chest. Allow the front of your ribs to soften and let your lower back squish into the mat. You're going to place both your feet down to the ground nice and wide, hands out nice and wide, and just knock your knees from right. Really feel like you can lift your left hip up through center, over towards the other side. Right hip can really lift up. Yep. Okay, and then both knees come back to hip distance apart, feet back to hip distance apart, hands down by your sides. Go ahead, tuck your tailbone under, peel the pelvis up to come into your shoulder bridge. Roll back down one vertebra at a time, so you come back through that imprint, then back to neutral. Tuck your tailbone, keep pulling your pubic bone close to your belly button as you roll all the way on up, and then roll it back down. We're just doing 2 more like that. If you like, you're adding in your arms. Arms lift up as well at the same time, up and overhead. Hold the arms there, roll down, and then bring the arms back. So hips roll up, arms lift up and overhead, leave the arms there, roll down, get length through your spine, hands come back. This time here, we'll roll up one more time. Lower your hips down, extend your legs long. Your feet could stay on the ground if you need it. Heels anchored, arms reach the ceiling, tuck your chin, roll through the spine, rise on up. So into your full spinal roll. As we come forward here now, think about reaching your fingers towards your toes, but we're thinking about that barrel like we did when we were doing our standing roll down. So you're pulling in through your abdominals and then reaching forward. Pull back, start to roll down your spine, keep your chin tucked, reach your hands back behind you. We reach the hands back up towards the ceiling, tuck your chin, exhale, curl forward, thinking about lifting your ribs up and over, reach your fingertips forward. One more time, we roll it all the way down, lift it all the way back on up. And then here you can sit up tall, cross your legs, bring your hands out in front, back onto all fours. Wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Go ahead and take your cat-cows. Inhaling to arch, exhaling to round. If you'd like detail here with your cat-cows, we can think a little bit more about thoracic extension, so your upper back, when we come into lifting the gaze. So draw your breastbone forward and feel your shoulder blades pull down your back. And then as you curl, think about your lower back, lumbar spine curving more so than your upper back. So work towards tucking your tailbone more here. So upper back doesn't really like to do too much extension, but your lower back loves it. So we're going to focus more on upper back extension because it's not as good as doing it. And then it's the vice versa when we come into rounding. Your lower back doesn't really like to curve so much, but your upper back loves it. So we need to work more for lower back to curve. So we can get maximum length then through our spine. Inhaling to arch, draw breastbone forward, and exhaling to curve. Feel the abdominals engage gently there as you tuck. Let's do one more. Inhaling to arch, and exhaling to tuck. We're going to go ahead and move into our downward dog again. Tuck your toes under, lift on up. Straight leg variation is fine if you like, but once again, you can always bend your knees, so you're still working towards finding a straight line through your spine and shoulders. Your ears are in line with your biceps, everyone, so just make sure you're not tucking your chin. When you're ready, inhale, float left leg up to three-legged dog. So your pelvis is square, the hamstring is lifting high towards the ceiling, and you're trying to find some engagement through the hamstring and glute. Exhale, left knee pulls in towards nose, shift your weight forward. Place your foot in between your hands, come up to your fingertips to protect your wrists. Soften through right knee, tuck chin, roll up to high lunge. Inhaling with hands up overhead. Same here, we want to think about tucking tailbone down. Your back knee might need to stay a little soft. We're going to take an exhale, twist to our left. Left hand finds back of right thigh, right hand lifts up and overhead. Come back through your twist, both hands windmill forward, and then send them back to find your arrowhead. Arms reach back in extension. Shoulder blades are drawing in towards one another, just gently. So you feel that opening through your collarbones. Press the back of your head up towards the ceiling. So think straight line from crown of head to heel. That's it, Lindy, beautiful. When you're ready here, both hands lift to the ceiling on your inhale. And then you're going to drop your right heel down towards the ground, open up to warrior two. In your warrior twos, that left knee placement is super important. You want to see that it's tracking over your middle toes there. If it's not, you may need to roll your right hip bone forward just a fraction to allow that external rotation in your hip. Your shoulders are stacked over your hips, everyone. Expand energy out through both hands. Palms are flipped down to the ground. So this is a static pose. And we might feel like we're building a lot of tension in our body to hold it. We want to try and find a sense of lightness and ease in this pose, though. So can you really ground down through both of your feet, including the outer edge of your right foot? As you ground down, there is this energetic lift through your whole body upwards. And then there's that sense of reaching out. So using a sense of energy to find lightness. Beautiful shapes, everyone. Go ahead, look forward. Flip the left palm, reach forward. Paint the ceiling up and over to take it into your side bend. It's okay that your ribs push to the left in this position. So you get that really beautiful stretch through all the intercostal muscles in that left rib cage. Maybe into your lower back and the QL. Reach energy through left arm. It doesn't have to go super low. And then we're going to spiral down to frame the left foot. As you spiral, pick your right heel up before the hands land to protect your knee. Step left leg back to find your plank. We're pausing here. Make sure your shoulders and wrists are perfectly in line. Backs of heads are pushing upward towards the ceiling. Ribs are in, belly button is drawing in gently. Spiral your fingers towards your pinkies. Exhale, take it all the way back down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Press the back of your feet into the ground. Tuck your tailbone, pubic bone is pressing into your mat. Hands reach back behind you. You can keep your palms on the ground. Press the back of the head up towards the ceiling. Pubic bone stays connected. Shoulder blades are drawing back and down gently. Lift your hands up into your extension. Perhaps if it feels okay for you, feet will lift. Keep them glued together if that's okay. Keep pressing the back of the head up from here. Think about energy reaching out through crown of head and out through toes and out through fingertips. Can you lift everything up a little higher? Keep breathing and then come all the way back down. Hands back underneath your shoulders. Elbows drawing in, so find that dialing sense of fingertips to pinkies, and then push up into your plank. So knees could be on the ground, or you could tuck your toes and push up into full plank. Tuck your toes, lift up, downward dog. This time here, we'll inhale high up onto both toes, bend our knees, look forward. You can step or hop in towards your hands. Feet are hip distance apart. Inhale, take your half lift. Exhale, melt it down. Roll back up through spine. Hands wide, comes out to the sides to lift you up. Think of this as a fountain, fingertips lead the action, roll it all the way back down. Inhale to take your half lift. Exhale to melt it down. Hands to the ground, step back into your downward dog. And then when you're ready, inhale, float right leg up to three-legged dog. Hips are square. Try and find that hamstring engagement. Shoulders are also square. Exhale, right knee draws in towards nose. Round your spine as you push right forward. Look forward, step your foot down in between your hands. Bend through the back knee, tuck your chin, roll up to your high lunge. So we're lengthening upwards, tucking tail down. Inhale, then exhale, twist towards your right. Close twist. Find waist, ribs, shoulders, and then perhaps your head. Right hand finds back of left thigh. Left hand sweeps up and overhead. Come back to your closed twist. Windmill it forward. Hands reach back past your hips. You're leaning into this, but not so much where we start to collapse and lose our core. So think about navel to spine, front of ribs, pull into back of ribs, energy from crown of head to heel. Beautiful shapes, nice work. Neck is nice and long. And when you're ready, both hands lift up towards the ceiling on your inhale. Lower the left heel to the ground. Come into your warrior two. Deep bend through the right knee. In fact, it's okay that it comes a little bit forward, even past your ankle if you like, just so long as it is tracking in line with your middle toes. So go ahead and play with the positioning of your pelvis if you need it. Reach energy down into the ground. Up towards the ceiling and outwards towards the sides. Flip your right palm, reach it forward, and then paint the ceiling. Once again, you could actively try and push your right rib cage towards the right a little bit more, trying to get as much openness through your side body as possible. Keep that deep bend in right knee. And then when you're ready, we windmill to the ground, but pick your left heel up before your hands land. Press your right foot back to your plank. We're pausing. Option now to move through upward facing dog. Otherwise, you can do any other variation of our back bends that we've been working on. Dial fingers towards pinkies. Exhale, we come halfway down. Chest stays forward, forward, forward. Inhale, press up to your upward facing dog. Backs of feet push firmly into the ground. Shoulder blades are drawing together. Breastbone is pulling forward. If it feels okay for your neck, you can push your nose forward and up, taking your gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, draw belly button to spine to pull you back to your downward dog when you're ready. Hard to talk and do at the same time. Remember, ears in line with biceps. And then when you're ready, inhale high up onto your toes, bend your knees, look forward. You can step or hop in towards your hands. Inhale to take a halfway lift. Exhale to melt it down. Roll through your spine. We're coming up to standing. Hands go wide, reach to the ceiling. Fountain pulls you forward and down. Roll through your spine. Inhale, take your halfway lift. Expand the chest. Exhale, melt it down. Hands find the floor. Step your left leg back, step your right leg back. We're finding our downward dog. Inhale, float left leg to three-legged dog. We pause here. You're going to point your foot and then send your leg out towards your left just a little. A few inches is fine. Draw your inner thigh back in, so you're finding that neutral alignment. So we're abducting our leg towards the side and then drawing it back into the midline. Please keep your leg in parallel as you're doing this, so it won't go too far out to the side. We're trying to find our inner thigh, and then even perhaps feel this in through our pelvic floor, drawing in and up, connecting to our deep abdominals. Exhale in, inhale out. Exhale in, inhale out. Go 2 more for me. And then last one here, we pause, lift up high onto right toes, left knee draws in towards nose, shift your weight forward, look forward, step down in between your hands, bend through back knee, roll up, high lunge, inhale. Exhale, twist, waist, ribs, shoulders, then head, looking past left fingertips. Left hand finds back of thigh. We windmill forward to our arrowhead. Both palms down to the ground. Reach them high. Feel that engagement at the back of your shoulder blades. If you like, you're pouring your weight a little more into left foot. Start to shift your knee forward, keep your ribs in, and then see if you can float the back leg up into warrior 3. So you're right on top of that left leg. Your pelvis is square. Front of ribs are pulling into back of ribs, and your neck is nice and long. Think tip of chin pulls into back of throat just gently. Arms up nice and high. Keep pressing into the back leg, hamstrings trying to lift towards the ceiling. When you're ready, exhale, toe heel down, warrior 2. Open it out. Beautiful transitions, nice work. Energy through your arms, energy up and out of your spine. When you're ready, shift your weight forward, flip the left palm, paint the ceiling. Windmill down, hands frame left foot, spin your body around, step left leg back, find your plank. Exhale to take your flow. Bending elbows, inhale to your back bend. Exhale, take it back to downward dog. Pause here. Knees are going to drop down towards the ground. Set up so that the knees are right underneath your knees are right underneath your hips, and your hands are right underneath your shoulders. Find this position again with your neck, everyone. So, tip of chin draws in towards back of throat. Think about energy reaching out through the crown of your head, energy reaching out through your tailbone. We're in our neutral spine. Front of ribs pull into back of ribs. When you're ready, left leg back, right leg forward. And then lift the arm and leg together, lower it down. We go inhale to lift, exhale, control, and reach the arm and leg away from one another as you tap down. Big lift up, and tap it down. Big lift up, and tap it down. Beautiful. So this exercise is all about stability. Stability in your shoulders and pelvis, and it's actually working your deep abdominal muscles. Great. So the leg isn't lifting up higher than the pelvis. You're really working at keeping your hips nice and square. You could all push your hand up a little higher though. Let's really get into the back of your shoulder. Very nice. Great, next one here, you're going to lift it up, hold it high. Now send your left leg out to the left, your right hand out to the right, draw it all the way back into your midline. Leg stays in parallel, arm stays in parallel, squeeze it in. So thumbs up to the ceiling, everyone. Reach it out, squeeze it in. Reach it out, squeeze it in. Very much so, you're trying to connect that left inner thigh again. Beautiful. Monique, if you need to, fist is fine. You could come onto your fist. It might be nicer for your wrist. And last one, we hold it there. Can you reach and get super long through your arm and leg and spine? Breathe, and then lower the arm and leg down. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up high, find your downward dog, lengthen it out. Your next inhale floats right leg to 3-legged dog. Hold it there. Point your foot, the leg is in parallel, hips are square. We're taking that right leg out towards the right, squeeze it into your midline. A little shift out to the side, squeeze, out to the side, squeeze. So you've got those details again. Find the inner thigh doing the movement for you. Keep your leg up nice and high. Remember, you can always keep your left knee bent so that you can get your bottom up higher. That's it. Last couple here. And on the last one here, we squeeze it in, we hold, right knee draws in towards nose, shift your weight forward, step the foot down in between your hands. Rise on up, high lunge. Inhale, then exhale, twist to your right, waist, ribs, shoulders, head. Right hand seeks out back of thigh, left hand up and over. Windmill forward into arrowhead. Palms down to the ground, lift them up high, ribs are in. Please feel free to stay here, working that line of energy from crown of head to heel, or you're going to start to shift forward a little, right into that right foot. Start to float the left leg up, find your warrior 3. Right knee can stay a little soft. Find that engagement through the back of your right leg and glute. Should be working pretty hard. Your pelvis is really stable and square. So you might even like to think about drawing your right hip bone back in space. Back of thigh is pressing upwards towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, toe, heel down, find your warrior 2. So finding that sense of energy, expanding through arms, down into ground, up towards sky. When you're ready, flip right palm, lean it forward, paint the ceiling, take it all the way back. We windmill forward, back heel lifts before hands land. Hands to the ground, step your right leg back to find your plank. So your variation is fine here. Exhale to come down, elbows are pointing back. Inhale to take it to your back bend. Exhale to come back on up into your downward dog. Both knees will find the floor, right underneath your hips. Wrists are set up underneath your shoulders. Neck is long, abdominals are gently engaged. Right leg goes back, left hand reaches forward. Start to lift the arm and leg together and control it down together. Everything's staying super stable. Notice if your back leg is wanting to externally rotate. Can you think about it really staying in parallel? So kneecap is pointing straight down to the ground, and there you should be feeling a bit of inner thigh engagement. So keep it right behind your hip. That's looking great, everyone. Back of head pressing up towards ceiling. So watching that your chin hasn't dropped to your chest. It might be pulling in just gently. Remember, you can push your shoulder up higher. So thumb lifts up towards the ceiling, perhaps a little bit higher. But we're really trying to maintain our neutral pelvis and spine there, so perhaps the leg doesn't go much higher. Well, definitely not higher than the hip. So last couple here. And then when you're ready, we hold it. We're going to take it out towards the sides and then draw it in. So both arm and leg. Leg moves out to the right, arm moves out to the left, and then you draw it all back through to your midline. So feel that pull all the way up and into your center. Exhale to draw in. Inhale to abduct. Exhale to draw in. Inhale, move it out. Just do 2 more there, please. And last one, we hold, expand everything, really reach for it, and then place your arm and leg down to the ground. Tuck your toes under, lift up to your downward dog. We inhale high up onto our toes, we bend our knees, look forward. You can step or hop in towards your hands. Inhale to take a half lift. Exhale to melt it down. Roll through your spine, come all the way back up to standing. Hands out wide, inhale, lift to sky. Fountain it forward, around through your spine. Weight evenly distributed through your feet. Inhale, let's go one more half lift. Exhale, take it back. Hands to the ground. Step back to your downward dog. So we're going to take one more flow and just go a little faster through it. When you're ready, inhale, float left leg to three-legged dog. Exhale, lift up high onto right toe and pull your left knee into chest. Step your foot down in between your hands. Soften through back knee. Inhale, rise up to high lunge. Exhale, twist to left. Left hand finds back of thigh. Reach it back. Windmill forward into arrowhead or straight into your warrior three. Toe heel down, open it out, warrior two. Paint the ceiling, take it straight away back. Windmill forward, hands frame left foot, back heel lifts. Step back to your plank, your choice to flow. Downward dog or child's pose is fine. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale to take it back, downward dog. Straight to the other side. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Step it in between hands, rise it up. Inhale. Exhale to take your twist. Inhale, back bend. Right hand finds back of left thigh. Windmill it forward, arrowhead or warrior three. Toe heel down, warrior two. Paint the ceiling. Windmill it down to the ground, back heel lifts before hand lands, and then step it back, plank. Your flow. Exhale down, inhale, back bend. Exhale, push it back to your downward dog. Inhale, high up onto toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop in towards your hands. Roll through your spine, come to standing, hands wide. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. One more half lift. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, down. Hands to the ground. Go ahead and step back. Downward dog. You're going to drop both your knees to the ground. Cross your legs or move your hips to one side and take a seat back. Let's bring our legs forward. So we're going to start with our knees bent here. Hands back behind you. So you can have a couple of different positions here with your hands today. You're either going to keep the fingertips pointing towards your hips, or if it feels kinder on your wrists, you can point them out to the sides instead. Okay, so your choice then. Here, push your hands firmly in towards the ground and feel that lift your breastbone. So we're trying to get a little bit more extension through our upper back. Abdominals are drawing in just gently. So we're not bracing, we're trying to find length. Front of ribs pull to back of ribs, beautiful. And then when you're ready, push through both of your feet, lift your pelvis, and bring the front of your hips into extension. Great, chin can stay tucked. If it feels wonderful for your neck, you can lift your nose up and back. But for some people, this feels horrible, so you don't have to do that version. We're doing this a few times as well, so you might want to take it easy. Let your hips come all the way back down. If you feel like changing your fingers, go ahead and give a different position a go if it feels nice. We'll try it again. Tuck your tail, lift all the way up, come up into this little half reverse plank, and then you'll come back down. You can stay with that, otherwise we're going to add on. Both feet extend forward. This is called our leg pull. We're going to push our heels down into the ground and then lift up from here. So back of legs have to work pretty hard. Lower your hips back down. So think again, upper back in extension. We're going to lift up, and this time we're going to hold. You can do this next movement with your knees bent as well. You're going to kick your right leg up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Lower it all the way down. I know, fancy can kicks. And we go again. Curl it up, and we go. Kick. 1, 2, 3. And lower it down. Come forward, roll forward, and just relax down. So easy forward fold. You don't have to think too much, just let it go. Great. And then roll back up through the spine to come up to standing or sitting up tall. Hands out in front. We go ahead and roll down. Remember, you can have your knees bent all the way down to the ground. Reach your hands up and overhead. So, not quite done yet, everyone. Just a little bit of an ab blast to finish. Hands back down by your sides. Bend your knees in. All right, so set up a neutral pelvis today. So let your pelvis, your hip bones, and your pubic bone lie on that same level. Then you can take your hands back down by your sides. Pick one knee to tabletop, other knee to tabletop. We hold here. Anchor your sacrum down. Front of ribs down. Keep your neutral spine. Pull your fingertips forward and curl just your chest up. Great. Can you soften your sternum a bit more to help you curl up a little higher, everyone? Yes, nice work. All right, if you need to, you can have one hand behind your head for these, but otherwise we're keeping both our hands forward and we're pumping our arms down, down, down. You take an inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So you're really pumping the whole arm down. Feel the back of your triceps working as well. Can you soften the front of your ribs, everyone, and curl up higher? Keep your sacrum anchored. If it feels appropriate for you and you'd like to add on, legs extend out, heels glued together so your toes are a little apart, and you're pumping from there. Good. Lower is harder, so if you need to lift your legs up higher, that's fine. Good. Keep it breathing. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In your own time there. Breath is crucial. We're going for another 10, 9, 8, 7, inner thighs glued if your legs are straight. Nice work. Big movements there through the arms. Make it something, not nothing. That's it. And pull your knees in towards your chest when you're ready. Curl your forehead right up towards your knees. And then relax your head all the way down. Keep hanging onto your right knee. Left leg will go nice and long. Right arm out to the side. Inhale, then exhale. You're pouring your right knee across your body. Take a nice twist. You can take deep belly breaths here. Use your breath to help you find a nice deep twist. Then slowly roll it back onto the mat. Pull your right knee into your chest, hold it there. You might like to bend your left knee and place your foot on the ground for this one. Extend the right leg up towards the ceiling, grabbing a hold of wherever feels okay. Your leg might not go completely straight, and that's fine. You're just trying to work towards feeling a nice stretch through the back of your leg. You might like to play with flexing your foot to get a stretch through your Achilles and the calf. You know, you can find more length through your hamstring by dropping your sacrum back into the mat and trying to go for a bit more of a neutral spine, or even feel like you're trying to arch your back. And then you'll draw that right knee in towards your chest. Place that foot to the ground, left knee in, make sure your right leg's gone long, left arm out to the side. Let your pelvis pour over to the side. That knee can come over to the side. If you do have a bad back and this feels a little bit too strong for your back and your twist, there is another option which might feel nicer. It's to stack both of your knees one on top of the other, and then you can play with the height of your knees, so maybe they're a bit lower or maybe they're a bit higher. So that's just another option in future if you need it. Deep belly breaths. And then we'll go for that hamstring stretch again. So just go ahead and draw that left knee back in through center. option to keep your right foot on the ground, stretch the left leg up. It may feel nice to play with flexing your foot. Especially if you're a runner, getting a stretch through your Achilles and calf is really nice. And again, you might like to even play with a little more detail of trying to maybe send your sacrum away from you, coming back to more of a neutral position. Anchoring the sacrum into the ground. Both knees draw back in towards your chest. You can place both of your feet onto the mat, and then you'll take your feet out wider towards the edges of the mat and allow your knees to knock into center so they're resting in on one another, internal rotation. Allow the front of your hips to soften and feel like the back of your sacrum and pelvis is just opening up broad. Hands can rest wherever feels comfy for you, and just close down your eyes for this last little moment. You might like to come to noticing your breath. Or just noticing how your breath feels in your body. And if you want, you can take a deep breath in with me, inhaling through the nose. And then let it out with a sigh. You can stretch your legs out long, arms up overhead, big inhale. And soften, sigh it out. Roll to your preferred side whenever you're ready. And then you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. Make your way up to a seated position. And thanks so much for joining me this morning. Wonderful work. I am going to stop the recording. So if you want to have a chat with me, please feel free to turn on your microphones. Otherwise, if you need to run away, I'll see you next week. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend.